Strader, the regular punter, gets a good one off. Brett Baldwin's going to receive it, and he's going to get to the outside. Brett Baldwin at the 45-40, 50-45-40, 35-30. He makes a cut, 25-20, 15-10. Touchdown, Braves! Brett Baldwin, 70-plus yards. Wow!
Yet another big play on special teams for St. John Bosco. And Baldwin had a couple of nice openings and just followed the path to Pater, the yellow brick road, and a touchdown for St. John Bosco.
Just an absolute great job blocking by the Bosco special teams there. And with this extra point, they could be going up into the locker room up by 10 against the Monarchs, something that not many people here expected.
No question about it.
Reed Budrovich on to make it 17-7. The holder is Ramos. Kick is up and good. 17-7. Bosco leads the Monarchs after a Brett Baldwin punt return for the touchdown. 44.3 seconds left to go here from Santa Ana Stadium in Santa Ana, California. Bosco 17, Mater Dei 7. When we come back, Bosco will be kicking off. Back here at Santa Ana Stadium in Santa Ana, California, Brett Baldwin making this a 17-7 game on their return punt. Reed Budrovich getting set to kick it off here. 44.3 seconds left before halftime. Brett Baldwin has really bust out onto the scene this year. He had that game-winning interception in Sandy, Utah against the Jordan Beat Diggers for the Braves, and he also had an interception that ended Orange Lutheran's chances, any chances of Orange Lutheran coming back late in the fourth quarter in that game as well. Brett Baldwin has been the X factor on this Braves team.
He's had the ability of being the showstopper, game clincher, and sure enough, he's done that.
Reed Budrovich's kick, like most of them, a touchback. So we'll see what Mater Dei will call. I wouldn't be surprised to see them take a knee into the locker room here. Still 43.2 seconds left. Both teams have 2 timeouts, but really, are you looking to take more shots downfield and having the chance of getting it picked off and Bosco scoring more points?
Key thing to keep in mind is Bosco also receives the second half kickoff once we get to that point. So Mater Dei may have to take a shot. They have 2 timeouts.
The momentum's certainly on the Braves' side. McMahon's out of the gun. And he'll just hand off here on the halfback delay. The draw there going to Justin Allen, who will go for about 6 yards on the play. It looks like both these teams will be okay with the 17-7 score going into halftime as the clock continues to run. I don't believe Mater Dei has to run another play, and they don't. They are headed for their locker room, as is Bosco. What a first half here. A plethora of explosive plays and a 17-7 St. John Bosco lead. When we come back, we'll have the halftime report with Chris and Chris. We'll have scores from around the Trinity League and around the CIF Southern section. We'll recap the first half, and we'll be looking ahead to the second half. Live from Santa Ana Stadium, the Bosco Braves on top, 17-7 at halftime.
Now it's time for Chick-fil-A's Chicken Halftime Promotion. Please welcome the Chick-fil-A team and Stefan Gabriel Mater Dei, tonight's Lucky Crab. If Stefan possesses the field goal, Chris does the Chick-fil-A sandwich at the Chick-fil-A in Bristol, MacArthur, and Santa Ana. A compulsive business. next week Friday. Let's hear some encouragement, because I know we'll all be hungry after the game. That's not. Garcia signal. Wide right. Let's go for try number 2. He has a lot of pressure. This many hungry fans, folks. Here's some noise from the pod. He sends that ball through the upright. And time.
Back here at Santa Ana Stadium, Eddie Westfield in Santa Ana, California. It's the Braves 17, the Monarchs 7 at the half. Is Chris Marr, you have our halftime scores from around the CIF Southern section.
Well, just down south, not too far away, at Orange Coast College in Costa Mesa, it is no score between the Santa Margarita Eagles and the Orange Lutheran Lancers, a game that involves both teams being tied up at 1-1 in the Trinity League standings. Could this game be a possible determinant on who makes and who misses the playoffs come November 4th? In other news, Servite leads the J. Sarah Lions 14-0, 3:36 to go in the first half down at Saddleback College. Definite good sign for the Servite offense as they are finally putting some points on the scoreboard. And the defense, very young, but kind of underrated too. You gotta like some of the things they do and what Troy Thomas draws up defensively. But other than that, Servite could be on their way to their first win if they hold on. But never count out those pesky J. Sarah Lions. El Toro leads Trabuco Hills 21-3 with the third quarter just set to begin right now. And Tesoro is up 14-7 over Mission Viejo late first half. 1 minute and a second to go down at Mission Viejo High School.
Certainly some shocking scores from around the CIF Southern section. Of course, Mission Viejo, one of the state's top teams. I'm sure we'll get a Narbonne score momentarily. But, Chris, what are your thoughts on the first half? You know, we opened up the play with a Coley 80-yard touchdown run. Bosco was able to respond 2 drives later on a Walker touchdown run from inside the red zone. The defenses both held each other. Then Reed Budrovich showed off his leg with a 46-yard field goal, and of course, Brett Baldwin a 74-yard punt return right there before the half ended.
Well, the key in this game has been big plays so far, and that's first has given Mater Dei its only touchdown on that 80-yard touchdown run by Trevon Coley. But let's also not forget how St. John Bosco, they got their first run on a couple of nice big runs by Darren Walker, and then the field goal. You know, that one big play was nullified by a nice Mater Dei defensive stop in the secondary, but we're able to get a field goal out of it. And then that last touchdown right before the half with Brett Baldwin and that punt return was yet just another big play. If you were looking for sustained offense, this is not the game. This has been a big play affair so far for both the Monarchs and the Braves.
Well, certainly it has been, and when we get back, we'll be talking about what we should expect in the second half, and we'll be talking about some other scores that we didn't mention the first time around in the CIF Southern section. Halftime from the Santa Ana Stadium. It's the Braves over the Monarchs, 17-7.
Zayala, Crenshaw, Dorsey. Crespi. Coach Albert Dorsey.
Once the 7-minute hit, you bring us back in. You bring us back in. I think we're doing it for the first time.
Halftime around the Survive Sarah, 14-0. In Santa Margarita and North Lutheran are scoreless time.
All right, we're back here on the St. John Bosco Brave Football Radio Network. As we approach halftime, almost ending, some more out-of-town scores. As of right now, we have the Notre Dame Knights leading the Loyola Cubs 21-7 over at Valley College in Van Nuys. We also have the Bishop of Mott Lancers, led by Koa Haynes at quarterback, just scoring before the half to take a 17-14 lead over the Crespi Celts in a game being played in La Puente. We also have Crenshaw Cougars up 21-0 over the Dorsey Dons. And I gotta say right now, looking at some of these scores, you know, Bishop of Mott is kind of a team that's been flying under the radar this year. They did lose some of their key playmakers from last year, Rio Ruiz and Jalen Moore. Jalen Moore being one of the top rushers in the Pac-5, but you gotta like how they've stepped up. And Crespi, being a team that started out very, very good, has kind of fallen back to earth after last week's loss to Notre Dame, and now after losing at halftime right now to Bishop of Mott, although a lot of games to be played left.
Well, I mean, Bishop of Mott is a team that started off the season with a absolute. I know Servite isn't what they were in previous years. They're in a rebuilding stage down in Anaheim, or Cerritos, you can say, because we'll be there. We'll be there next week. By the way, we'll be at Bosco Cerritos next week, so get excited for that one. But always an interesting time when Bosco and Servite meet up. But to get back on track, you know, Servite's not what it was the last couple of years when they made deep playoff runs, but you know, it's still a win over a Trinity League school, and that is huge for the Bishop of Mott program.
I think it speaks volumes for Coach Steve Haggerty and the Bishop of Mott program. They really hadn't had a signature win in several times, the last one being when they defeated Mater Dei in the playoffs 3 years ago, or when they beat St. Bonaventure in overtime that year. So it really was a good win. It put them on the map, but I think now the win after coming off a tough loss to Alamany, a high shootout affair, I must say, offenses that can really light up that scoreboard like it's the 4th of July, no question about it. But going back to Bishop of Mott,